Hi, this is Gary Boys, recruiter and career coach, and welcome to my podcast 2. My podcast 1 was giving you tips of how to win a job. But whilst we win a job, this podcast 2 is about losing a job, exiting out a company, being made redundant, being let go, you leaving the company. So the podcast today is about me giving you tips from my knowledge of all the people that I coach who have lost their jobs in all different ways, me giving you advice on their journey. Because one thing's for sure, all of us, all of you, are going to lose your job at some stage. Now, my experience is that when I was with a company, I was there for 22 years. Now, get your head around that. 22 years. Those days are gone. All the colleagues I worked with before, on average, were there for 15 years. Those days are gone. The average length of employment in the UK now, guess what it is? It's 4.5 years. If you've done 4.5 years in one company, well done. That's average. You've hit the goal. Now, let's say, for example, you start work at 22. And let's just, for example, say you retired at 62. Now, in my case, I started at 15. However, let's just, for argument's sake, say that you started employment at 22. You retire at 62. That gives you 40 years of work, 40 years of working. Now, if you divide 4.5 into that, 4.5 years being the average employment in the UK, that means in your lifetime, you'll have 9 jobs. 9 times you'll be retiring and leaving that company. 9 times you'll be exiting. So 9 times. It might not be 9, it might be 5, it might be 4, it might be 6, but it will happen. And it's not personal. Our brains go through departure and exit and loss. Very similar in our personal lives and in our business life. And by that, I mean that if we lose our job or we lose a partner, our mind goes through rejection, loss, why me, disappointment, hurt, all those words that make us feel sad. Okay? So I'm going to give you tips during this podcast to help you fight back against those feelings. Now, when you're let go, it's a business decision. It's not personal. I've seen departments shut down. I've seen offices shut down. I've seen teams shut down and let go. It happens. It's business. Now, that sounds really cold when you hear that. And some employers deal with departures really well. They give people outplacement services. They deal with the exit, the grief process really well. But in my experience, I would say 90% don't. So one of the tips I want to give you is to prepare your mind for leaving. Now, that sounds a little bit crazy, doesn't it? Even when you start a company, I want you to think about your exit. And I want you to think about, what job do you want to do after this job that you're about to take? Now, when I look at the employers that let people go, I want to share experiences of what that looks like from all the candidates I speak to who've lost their job. And there's a common theme. Employers handle it badly. Most redundancies I see are generally before Christmas, or when people come back from work from Christmas and start in January. Literally, I hear case after case where people come back all happy, go back to work, and are ushered into a room. There's a HR person there, given a notice of termination. And one of the feelings that people have is that shock treatment. You're shocked. So remember what I said. I said that you're going to get at least 4 or 5 experiences where you leave a company. Could be 9, could be more. So prepare your mind that that's going to happen. Prepare yourself that it's not you. It's not personal. It's a business decision to save costs. Now that doesn't make you feel good, but that's just a fact of life. It's a walk of life. Remember what I said, 4.5 years average employment in the UK. It's going to happen. So my first thing I want you to remember is to get yourself mentally prepared. It's out of your control. But let me give you some tips of what you can do to risk assess that company before you start and reduce the risk as much as you can. So here are my tips. On LinkedIn, for example, if you go on the business page of the company that you're either employed with or the company that you want to join, on the premium version of LinkedIn, there is on the page of the company, there's an insights folder. And in that insights folder, it will give you how many employees that company has across the globe, and has that been going up or has it been going down? So you can easily see if that employer is taking on more staff or declining and cutting costs and cutting heads. And that's on LinkedIn, on the page of the employer. The second thing, it gives you average length of employment in that company. It will tell you of all the employees that are there and that have gone, how long on average does an employee stay in that company? 1.5 years, 4.5 years, 6 months. So before making that decision, I would definitely recommend you look at LinkedIn in insights on the page. So prepare for an exit. It's going to happen. Is the company growing, employing more people? Check on LinkedIn. What's the average length of employment? That information is on LinkedIn. Check Glassdoor. Glassdoor is an independent website where existing employees give their feedback on that company. Glassdoor is a really good way of getting a measure of feedback from employees of what it's like at that company, existing and people that depart. So Glassdoor would be another thing that I would look at. The third thing is to talk to someone currently working there. If you're a salesperson, are the targets achievable? Does anyone else hit target? Or anyone else hitting commission? Find out from an existing employee. Get an impartial view. Remember, it's not personal, it's business. And it's loss. I know the feeling. I've been there. I've exited the company myself. But I asked to exit. I forced the exit. You stay in control of the exit. I left on a win-win. What does a win-win mean? The employer was happy because they wanted to save costs, and I was happy because I got a payoff. So think about the exit. Think about the negotiation, because that's what it is. They want to save costs. You want to get as much money as possible when you exit. Those are the type of things I can support you with. Those are the types of things I can coach you how to exit, where it's a win-win scenario. It's inevitable. It's going to happen in your personal life and in your business life. Mentally prepare yourself. It's not personal, it's business. Check LinkedIn. Go on the Glassdoor. Speak to an employee working there. And it's going to happen. There's a great quote from a book that I read years ago. It's a book called 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And there's one chapter that really resonates in my mind. And it's a chapter that talks about begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. What that means is if you start a company, join a company, already start thinking about exiting and what you want to do next. It's going to happen at some stage. You're going to leave. Prepare yourself for the next job. Don't be forced into a job. I know sometimes we have to take a job for the sake of it. I get it. We've got bills to pay. That's you taking a risk. I get it. I understand it. But remember, in the UK, within 2 years, you've got no HR legislation. You could be fired within a week. So anyone under 2 years in employment, bear that in mind. The days of me being in the company for 22 years, sadly, they are gone. If you've joined the company less than 2 years, you're always at risk until you get over 2 years. Okay? It's not personal. It's ruthless. It's business. So there are my tips. I'd say 9 jobs you potentially could have in your employment life. Okay? Check out the employer as much as you can. Do they just hire and fire? So, take control. If you need any support at all, I provide free consultation for 45 minutes. And with my Revival Revolution modules and my coaching one-to-one modules, I give you a clear strategy of how to win a job and how to exit a job and how to think about the next job. Thank you for your time. This was podcast 2, exiting or losing a job. If you want to get in contact with me, you can phone me on this number. You can email me on this address. You can contact me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to working with you. Good luck. You're the asset. I wish you all the best.